One shot at a time.
You're right, Roy. Just knock it on. Let her rip.
You're playing golf today.
No, I'm not, Grandpa. I'm playing tennis.
You're playing golf and you're going to like it.
You just go home. That's your home. Are you too good for your home? Answer me.
Welcome to the Out the Bunker podcast with DT and Jase.
Hey guys, welcome to the Out the Bunker podcast. This is episode 8, and we're actually going to split this episode up into a two-parter because we're going to have some deep conversations today. Today's episode is going to be based around culture. And look, I just want to remind everyone that although we are Out the Bunker and we do present ourselves as Top Deck Golf because that's how Jase and I have connected again, this podcast doesn't just focus on golf. It focuses on all things life. And that's not our only purpose is golf. So we focus on life. We focus on current events, basketball, other sports. And we just want everyone to kind of make sure.
Basketball. Other sports.
Yeah. Right? But we just want you to make sure that this doesn't just kind of resonate as just a golf podcast because that's not what it is. We only briefly talk about it, which we will right now. And look, today's guest is just going to be mind-blowing for us because it's something that touches me in a very different way emotionally because I don't have the connection like our guest does, but I do have a connection to culture. So today's guest, I don't even know how to say it because I've known you for a long time, but he's an entrepreneur, he's an artist, which I did not know. His family actually runs the Self Made Indigenous Corporation and Black Unicorn. This guy uses his positive energy to motivate young people to live life to the absolute fullest and dream big and dream often. And that's something that can't be taken away. From a high school dropout and homeless at 16 years of age to now having a university degree in Biomedical Science, anatomy, and human biology.
God damn.
And studying to become a doctor before a pretty tragic diagnosis changed his life. Look, he's an inspiration to many. He's an inspiration to me. He's someone I'm proud to call a friend and someone who I consider someone that I can just sit down and have a deep and meaningful conversation with whenever I need to. And he's someone I would do anything for. He's one of the most kind-hearted human beings I've ever known. And that is Mr. Aaron Sutton.
I appreciate it.
Welcome,
Thank
man.
you for having me.
All right.
And I'm only just meeting this man for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
welcome.
going to get to, So how's things, man? How's
Man.
life?
Thanks for the intro. That's wild. No, life is good. Life is good. I feel like when you have a family, life is just what your passion is or work and family. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it starts to blend and mesh together. So,
And you've just come back from Bali?
yeah. Little family getaway. Recharge time. Because everything we do is so charged, I guess.
High octane type
High
stuff.
octane. It's emotional roller coaster, I guess you could say. It's days are up, days are down. It's a lot. It's a lot to process. So I think as we start to grow as a company and we start to have more people do the work that we're doing, we're the guinea pigs right now to figure out like exactly how much mental health care that people doing what we do will need to have.
Mm-hmm.
And so like basically what we do is actually around mental health. So it's kind of funny, providing a safe space for young people to be themselves. It takes a lot of your energy too, and then that's what the whole recharge and revive kind of thing is. And, we were only away for a week and then now we're straight back into it.
Straight grinding away.
Yeah.
So look, can you tell us a bit about your journey, your struggles? Start wherever you want to start.
Yeah.
We can go back to the young days playing ball and things. We can go back to however you want, but just tell us how you came to where you are today.
Start from three-quarters of the way through, then go to the end, then go to about 40%,
do the
then
last
start from
dance
the beginning and bring it all around to a nice little conclusion.
And I took that personally.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, and I say it a lot, I'm just a kid from Tennant Creek. So, a lot of people actually don't know where Tennant Creek is.
No, explain, please.
So, Northern Territory. So, we're talking 5 hours north of Alice Springs, 6 hours south of Darwin. So, right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
We had a laugh. We went back home 2017, 2018. And got to take my kids back to country I'm from and stuff.
Which is what? Like, what's the, I guess, the area
known
as?
Yeah, so it was Warramunga country, Jarwin country, which is like going up towards Darwin and stuff. I got family all through the territory. But it's like, when we went, the census said home of 2,000 people.
Yeah.
2,500 people.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep looking over there because the boss is over there. So it's like my little, she gives me the little.
That's all right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So that's probably going to happen a lot today. But the census was done during not a mining boom, but when mining was kind of big in the city, in the town.
So it's not 2,500.
And was that 2,000 of the people?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah,
easily.
Makes sense.
Like, if you go to Tennant Creek right now, if we drove down the strip, by lunchtime, like we went down in the morning, by lunchtime everyone knows that we're in town. Like,
yeah.
It's
everyone's looking at you as you're driving through. Like,
it's a strip. Everything's built off the strip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, very small town. Man, a lot of people I know don't know where Tennant Creek is, and if you're from the territory, from a place like Tennant Creek, if you move anywhere, it's Darwin or Adelaide. Like, you go.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather go to Darwin.
Yeah, and so like a lot of my family have done that. But I was very fortunate, I guess, through. So this is something about me you're going to figure out. I'm very positive all the time, even when it's like adversity or drama or whatever it is. I always find the
There's a silver
right
lining
side to
in
it.
everything.
And I think I feel like a lot of people that have been stuck on survival mode, like the switch survival mode's been stuck on so long, they just either find to be super negative all the time because the whole world's against them, or they always super optimistic where they're like, it's not that bad. I've had worse. And so, my mum got out of there because she had 2 kids, 2 boys, was married to my dad at the time, and they got out of there. I don't even know how long they were out of there before Dad left. And then my mum had to try and figure it out on her own with 2 boys. So
not easy boys either.
No.
You the younger of the two or the eldest?
Eldest,
yeah.
And so she had to go back, like, you know what I mean, tail between her legs kind of thing, back to the territory. And then she just was so persistent on getting away. And then it's funny because everyone asks, why are you in Perth? Why? And I was like, I think, I've never asked my mum, but I think it was so they got out of the territory to go to Brisbane. And that's where my brother was born. And then it was like 4 or 5 months after that, Dad dipped. Sorry, Dad. I'm just saying the story if he watches this. He loves golf, by the way. And then she had to try and figure it out. So when she figured out a place, it was the exact opposite end of Australia. She was like, we're going there.
And then they're into the world down here, man.
And then that was it. But then I was wild, man. So like I came here with Mum, me and my brother. Like, you don't realize how shout out to all the single mums out there too, by the way, because you don't realize how hard it is for them to raise, especially like 2 boys. Like I was about to just throw my brother under the bus. Stevie's a handful when he was a kid. I know I was a handful too.
That's not, man. Boys are different. I mean, having one of each boy and a girl, and like, boys are different.
The energy's different.
Man, it's a totally different energy. You can say, "Hey, sweetie, just go sit down for a little bit, just chill out, do some drawing, blah, blah, blah." You say that to a boy, and it's like, yeah, okay. Goes over there 5 seconds, and he's like throwing something.
Yeah, all those drawings are going to be on the wall, not on the paper you gave him.
And I couldn't imagine. I mean, I know Stevie.
Yeah.
I didn't know him as close in his younger days, but I can imagine he would have been as a 7-8-year-old, like a handful, just running around, running amok.
Yeah,
like,
look, Stevie got better with age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he chilled out. He's still wild as hell now. Like,
is he?
Yeah. Like, he's chill, but when he was a young kid, man, he was wild. To the point where even I was wild, and I was like, man, he needs to calm down. You know what I mean?
Man.
So,
So you finally got down to Perth.
Down to Perth.
Yep.
And how old are you at this point?
Man, pretty sure we got here when I was like 5 or 6.
Right.
Melville Primary School. I went to Melville Primary School. Sorry, that was hell weird. The boss was telling me off. She's like, "Hey, stop swinging."
Stop swinging.
It's a golf podcast. It's all good.
Look, if you're nervous in the presence of greatness, that's understandable.
It's understandable.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know
But
why
carry
I'm
on.
swinging.
Yeah, it's.
I always
Do
get
what you
funny
do.
talking about myself, though. It's a weird thing.
It's the hardest thing to do. I actually tell that to my...
it's so easy.
No, for him it is. But I actually tell that to my kids that I teach, right? I actually say, if I asked you to talk about someone else, easy.
Oh, dude.
100%, because you can either be nice or talk trash, right?
Yeah.
And it's easy to do. But when I ask these kids, like, in an interview, you need to sell yourself.
Oh, yeah.
How are you going to do that? And you get kids to get up and do like a 5-minute speech about themselves, and it is so hard.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult.
Unless you're like the
Me.
kid's a narcissist and they're like,
Like
sorry,
me.
my guy.
This guy.
Dude, honestly, I'm my biggest fan. I talk about myself all day because
I love
why
that
would
for
I
you.
think anything less of myself?
I love that for you. That's good.
Anybody else can think whatever they want. They can talk trash. They can talk good. But if I talk bad about myself,
Hey,
that's my
true.
own brain
That's
convincing
true.
myself that that's what I feel about me.
That's fair
so
enough.
why would I talk that way?
I like that.
Never.
Hey,
Never.
That's power right
People
there.
call it arrogance. I just call it confidence.
I like it, though.
And if I don't back it up, I still look good while I'm talking shit.
Especially with that new hairdo you
Yeah,
got
I know,
going on,
man.
bro. The Rico
Honestly,
Suave.
Brown John
like you are.
Travolta has got it, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, they need to watch out.
Yeah, I'm going to be a 40-year-old in high school just like he was.
Yeah, hey, you need to relax, actually. Hold on a sec.
No, I'm just dumb.
Yeah.
I'm just dumb.
So,
But yeah, so, yeah.
We digress.
so how did you first then get into, I guess, like doing what you're doing now? Kind of explain what Self Made Indigenous Corporation is.
Well, it actually stems from that. So, like, I started to get crazy. Not crazy, but just like, you think about like a 12, 13-year-old boy that's hit puberty that only has a mum at home. And mum's busy. Mum's doing 2 or 3 jobs, right? Like, who's telling me what to do? Who's
no
who's
real
leading
male
me? Who's
role model
guiding me?
either.
Yeah.
No, and then so you've got your boys, right? And then it just so happens, I feel like, this is crazy, but I feel like people from like, I guess it's called a broken home, but people with like a single parent household,
Yeah.
they all seem to find each other. Like, I don't know if you ever noticed that. Groups of friends,
Yeah, of course.
they'll be talking to each other, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, all of us just had one parent.
Yeah, it's a connection of likeness, right?
Yeah, but without
So,
even discussing.
Without even discussing, yeah.
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Just all
yeah.
of a sudden it's like,
I get it, yeah.
Do you
Energy,
even have a
energy
dad?
matches energy.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. So then all of a sudden you got a group of kids like that. You know what I mean? And I think my mum saw. So I was meant to go to Willerton. Well, I wanted to go to Willerton Senior High School. The trials were coming up, and my mum was like, "It makes me laugh so much now because mum was like, you're not going to that school. You're not going to go hang out with those boys."
Hey, we weren't that bad.
No, so in her mind, I think she was like, all parents are the same, right? They're like, oh, they're a bad influence on you. But then, like, the reason why I find it funny is I was probably the bad influence on them. You know what I mean? So I was like,
But like Willerton's a top school.
yeah, but like, come on, man. Like,
You're in Melville, man. You
I'm
were
not-
right next to White Gum Valley and Frio. Like,
I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. I know some people that went to Willerton that were wild.
So do I.
Yeah.
so do
Oh.
I. So we.
If you don't, I will.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Stuart Irving.
That's who you're thinking of, too.
Nah.
Stewie and Carlin Hughes. Not so much
Daniel
Daniel Monday.
Monday.
Nah,
He's-
he was like the preacher's
Can you
son.
remember Daniel Monday?
I do. I actually do.
He's the night. That dude used to travel from Mandurah every day to go to Willerton Senior High School.
To be
One
fair,
of
I
the
travelled
nicest
from
human beings
Bayswater every day to go
Yeah.
to Willerton.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, it is.
Man,
I had to be up at 4:30 in the morning to get there by 6.
Well, look, you're prepared for work now.
Yeah, true.
yeah, hey, you were here on time, too, so.
I was way too early.
My guy, Russell Thomas.
Oh, Russ, yeah,
He
with
used
the
to-
dreads. But
he
yeah,
used
back
to
in the day, yeah.
travel from Rocco.
Yeah.
And
well,
that to me
yeah.
was wild. I know Mandra's further away, but I used to be like,
Yeah.
how would you just
Yeah,
go to
yeah,
Rockingham
yeah.
It's a
Senior?
long way to
Yeah,
go
man.
to a school.
Wow, Russell
in
Thomas,
general.
that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
He's my guy.
Yeah.
Shout out Russ. I haven't seen him actually.
He dated Sherelle Johnson back in the day.
Wait, this is pre-me being there?
Yeah,
okay.
This is like way back in the day. Yeah.
Not pre-me as in dated Sherelle. I was too
no,
short
no,
for
no,
her.
yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I was too short for
Didn't have
everybody in
dreads,
that
didn't have
school.
dreads.
No, I was just too short for everybody in that school.
Yeah, hey, that school had some monsters, but like he was a good guy, man. I like him, and I randomly bumped into him because he was like a center back in the day when I was in
Yeah,
like
kind of, yeah.
year 7, year 8, and I bumped into him and I realized he didn't grow since.
Yeah,
7.
no, he didn't. He was
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was like 5'7", 5'8", you know what I mean? And we're all like,
That's
we're all
still
like
taller than me.
5'2". We're like, yo, this guy's huge. And then bumped into him and he hadn't grown, and I was like, what happened? He's like, what do you
What
mean?
happened?
No, what do you mean? What happened?
Like he chose to just
Yeah,
go,
where
I've
did
had
you go?"
enough. I've had enough.
That's it. I'm done.
All right, so look, back on track.
Yeah, sorry.
Tell me,
So-
explain to the people what Self Made Indigenous Corporation is and what it does, and I guess the functionality of it all.
Well, let me get through this real quick, and then it actually all leads in.
Go.
So from there, I was getting crazy. my mum, I hadn't spoke to my dad since I was 4. But then, like, my mum kind of orchestrated this thing. I feel like it was my mum because I was just getting out of hand. So she's like, you're going to go and visit your dad. I was like, okay, a holiday, cool.
Yeah.
Where am I
Holiday.
going? Queensland. So we go to Queensland. And then all of a sudden, this is just my experience as a 13-year-old kid. All of a sudden, I'm at this guy's wedding. My dad's wedding to his next wife.
Yeah,
and I'm
wow.
like, I'm not processing it, but I'm kind of like, yo, this is weird.
Yeah.
So I come back, trying to adjust back to, that was weird going to see that guy for like 2 weeks. Haven't seen him since I was 4. Then I knew something was up because my mom's like, you're going back to your dad's. And I was like, okay, I just got back. Went back there. And I remember calling, it was like school holidays. I think I was there for like 2 weeks, and I called up and I was like, oh, school holidays done. Am I coming back? She's like, maybe you should try like a term of school there and see what that's
damn.
like. Yeah.
Yeah, so something was up.
That's like an easy release.
I'm like,
slow release.
I was like halfway through the school term, and I'm like, so what's going on at the end of the school term? Like, she's like, maybe you should try 2 terms, see what that's like. And I swear it got to like term 3 or 4, I stopped asking.
Yeah, I was like, the number you have called has been disconnected.
No, so do you know what's wild? Do you know what's wild is, do you remember the 1-800, the family 1-800 number? Yeah. So we had that, and she didn't take it off. So I could always
you could always get through.
Yeah. Sometimes call, just hang up real quick. Yeah,
she's still there.
Yeah, they're still there. They didn't move.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So Stevie stayed here?
Stevie stayed here.
So he stayed here and she took you away.
Well, look, I was wild, man.
Oh,
Look,
you were the bad influence, huh? That's why you didn't go to
man,
Wilton.
I think can I talk about some craziness?
Talk about whatever you want, man.
Yeah, man.
So I think the thing that the straw that broke the camel's back, I was 13 and I came home drunk from like a refs party.
What'd you drink? Woodstock? Oh.
Beer. Come on, I wasn't on the Woodstock
taste.
yet. And then I got home, I was wild. I was like waking my brother up. Hey man, get up! Like, Femi, do you remember Femi?
Femi, yeah.
Yeah, so Femi was.
He
he was
said that right.
sleeping over that night, and he was like, "Dude, you need to relax." And I was like, "Nah, fuck that." And I was like, "Ah." And then like literally, it was the day after.
13 years old.
The day after, I was sent to Brisbane. So I mean, looking back, I did a lot of dumb stuff. So
yeah, but look, it's made you who
you
you
could
are today,
see,
right?
You could see the reasoning behind the decision, at least.
Yeah. And this is what's funny about the story is like, looking back, I can be like, yeah, that's wild. I shouldn't have done that. I understand the decisions that were made.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So I get to Brisbane. I love Brisbane. So high school in Brisbane. Picked up straight away, and basketball was the thing. I found out that because I had this thing, I was able to go anywhere in the world, and I could make friends automatically off the bat, right?
Yep.
So I go there, all good, integrate into school well. And so this is the first part of my life where I got a father figure. And dude, it was good when it was good, and then it was bad when it was bad.
Yeah.
So it lasted like 2.5, 3 years. I got kicked out of home. But I wasn't being wild. And it took me a long time. I thought it was something I did because what happened beforehand, right? So I'm like, what did I do? What happened? And then I got clarity a lot longer, a lot
Later on in life.
Longer ago, that it wasn't anything to do with me. It was just the situation that was happening with my dad and his partner at the time.
Yeah, right.
So without getting into too much details of what happened, got kicked out. I'm in year 10, end of year 10, trying to figure it out. Like just as a...
At 15
Yeah,
years
of
old,
course.
that's
Yeah, like
nuts,
what the hell's
bro.
going on? What am I going
what
to
do I
do?
So like literally was called up and said, hey, your stuff's on the lawn. No, hey, it looks like it's going to rain. And I'm like, yeah, your stuff's on the lawn. You better go come and get it.
Oh,
and I'm like,
this is your dad.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, man. All right. And I'm not a overreacting person. So I kind of go, oh, okay, well, everything will calm down. I'll go there and everything will be chill. And it wasn't chill. Like, all the locks were changed. Stuff was out in the front. So anyways, preceding that, it was tough couple of months where it was like staying at friends' houses as much as they could. Like, it's embarrassing, right? So I'm like hiding it. You know what I mean? Then when the parents start saying like, oh, is Aaron going to go home soon? Like, I need to get out of here. So that happened for a while. There was a period of like, I want to say 2 to 3, 4 weeks where I was like literally actually homeless. Like I was staying up all night and then I'd go to a friend's house in the morning, have a shower, go to school. I would go to school because I just wanted to be around people.
Yeah, around people. Yeah, of course.
So that happened for a bit, and then an uncle organized, helped me organize Centrelink and helped me organize, it's wild, helped me organize a student accommodation.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I was 15, 16, with my own
living on your own.
My own apartment. No one's
Yeah.
telling me I have to get up, and you know what I mean. It was wild. So it was a wild time. So through that, I saw a lot of opportunities for mayhem. Right. So I saw a lot of no one's here to tell me I can't do this, and no one's here to tell me what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And so, they talk about the two pathways a lot of the time.
Yep.
People say you can choose which way you go. That happened every day.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, you've just been thrown in the deep end as now technically an adult because you got to fend for yourself like an adult does. You got to make individual choices like an adult does. And, yeah, you either listen to the devil on your shoulder or you listen to the angel.
What you're going to do. And so, a lot of time you hear, people talk about, I got to eat, so I got to figure out how I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
So I had, I got Centrelink. Is $450, $460 a fortnight. But after the rent came out for accommodation, I had $40 a fortnight.
Damn.
Right? So $40 a fortnight's not getting you anywhere now.
Nah.
But back then it also wasn't that much, right? So you're trying to figure that out. So I got into some things because I was like, okay, well, how am I going to make this work? And then everyone does it. You know where you you get paid, you eat like a king, and then coming up to payday.
Shit, I'm 38. I still do that.
And so, the days where it was leading up to, getting paid, I remember me and my boy, Jules, shout out Jules if you're watching this, we ate, I'm not even lying to you, frozen peas and honey. We boiled them things, we strained them, and we had honey, and we put them on there, and we ate them. Because 2 ingredients we had in the house.
Yeah.
And then, the next
And honey
day,
doesn't go bad, so
no,
you keep that
sweet,
forever.
you're sweet. And peas in the freezer forever. I swear, we still got peas in the freezer from 2001.
Great for injuries too, right?
Yeah. You don't need ice packs.
Multi-purpose.
Yeah.
You can also add to that fat-free air and water.
Yeah, exactly.
Is a go-to cuisine of mine sometimes.
Well, they haven't figured out how to charge us for that yet. So
Yeah.
we're good. Went through all that stuff. Got out of there. I think what happened, I started to see people get locked up. I started to see people no longer be with us. Saw a lot of craziness. And I want to say it scared me, but it was that mental reckoning where I was like, oh, if I keep going down this path, it's going to end up in only a certain amount of ways.
Yeah.
And I've always been a kid that's always dreamt for more. So I was always like, okay, well, basketball was my thing. If I want to go to the NBA, I can't run around here and do all this stuff.
No.
Right? It doesn't make sense.
Or you'd be Dennis Rodman.
And it's or the choices I have don't include going to the NBA right now, right? So I made an effort. It was crazy too, because I had been so successful at certain things. Basketball was the thing. I got to go to America, got the tour. There was all these avenues that I could, opportunities that I could access further, and it got to a point where I had to choose. So I broke away from the life, I guess, in a general sense, as much as I could, and it was scary because it's what you know. It's where you got the safety. Where
your comfort zone.
Right? Basketball was the savior, right? I just chucked myself into that full time as much as I could. And it really kind of saved me from that episode. But I remember when basketball stopped, I got injured. And I remember calling my mum, right? And I was like, I know how this conversation is going to go. And for some reason, so when I got injured, I stopped having that outlet. So I was like, okay, well, it's going to be really easy to fall back into the craziness. But I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the tone of my voice. Maybe it was the time, length of time. But I remember calling mum and I said, yo, I really want to come home. And I was waiting for maybe you should just not do that.
Try one more time.
Yeah. And she said, all right, cool. But when you come here, you need to get a job and you need to do these things.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, wasn't expecting that. So, I get back to Perth, and that seeing that lifestyle and understanding those upcomings, when I grew and got older and started to experience life more, I keep seeing young people, not just Indigenous young people, I see a lot of young people at certain crossroads. And I can see the struggle. And like I said before, the survival switch, I can always tell when someone's got the survival switch on. Because I had it on for forever. To be honest, I had it on until probably after the girls were born. I was still trying to figure out Like, man,
Yeah,
I don't
just
know how I
life,
ever
yeah.
lived like that.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I think most people, even if they don't, if they're not suffering, people who live normal every day-to-day lives, blue-collar jobs, white-collar jobs, whatever, I would say the majority of people have the survival switch on. It just doesn't seem as hectic until you hit rock bottom.
Oh, yeah. No, and that's the thing. I notice, and when I say I see people, I'm like, okay, I can see where you're at. And they're a lot of times they don't have no clue that they've got
just
that switch on.
ignorant to it.
But I can tell by the things they say and the things they do, because I'm like, yeah, I know what that is. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
And then so I started to see that with our kids, and it was always a passion that like me and my wife always talked about when we got together. Is this is the other thing that adults do. One day I want to do this, and it always comes down to money. You're always like, yeah, when I've got enough money, I'm going to do this. So I always think about the people back in the territory with like less than good living arrangements and what they have, right? And then I think about the kids that just kind of don't really have an outlet or have anyone there pushing them or showing them the way.
Yeah.
And so I kept saying, one day when we got money, we'll do that. So it's crazy because you get to a point where the money never comes. Like, there's never enough money for you to go, okay, now's the time.
Yeah.
Well, one day doesn't have a date.
No, it doesn't.
One day never happens.
And like, how much money? You don't set a target. You don't go, okay, when I have $5,000, I'm doing this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? It's an open end thing, and then you don't hold yourself accountable. But what's crazy is when we were in university, we went back to university at 30.
Which is a big step in itself, right?
Oh,
like
hell
that's such a complicated process in itself, because most kids who go to uni, and I'll say my experience in America, right?
Yeah.
Most of those kids get backed by their families,
Oh, yeah.
right? And they have huge HECS debts and things. I mean, one of my good mates is now a leader. He actually did on a Zoom call. His name's Bill Maybe. Did a Zoom call with Lenny Papertalk in Geraldton.
Yeah.
Right. And he's over in America. They did like a Zoom thing where he was presenting new medical research for Indigenous population.
Yeah.
Right. Because he's Indian.
That's awesome.
Right. So I was actually like listening to the thing, and then he like gave me a shout out on it and stuff. But he still has a HECS debt, like a huge, because American colleges over there are like 30-something grand a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or depends
And
on...
that's not even the expensive colleges
And
or
that,
universities.
and because he was out of state, he was from New York and we were in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Right. It was even more for him.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, like we're going back at 30. You've now got bills, everything. You still got to do all that, plus then go to university and still study and
do that.
somehow keep your mind on that as well. That's tough, man.
So I apologize to everyone if this seems like all over the place. If you want to know my story and you see me in public, just
Keep listening to the podcast.
We'll sit down and
We'll get there. That's why it's a two-parter.
We'll fill in all the blanks.
But just tell us, the biggest thing I want to know is actually what do you guys do
Right.
for the youth? Like what's that? Yeah.
Let me get there. My bad.
Let me start from the beginning again.
yeah.
I was born
You
I was
told me
born
to start. Let's talk about Tennant Creek real quick. No, okay. So what we do now is so different from when we started. And anyone that has a business, if your business becomes successful, there's so many stages on the way.
Mm-hmm.
And the stages are normally this. You start doing this, then you do everything, and then you cut it back down to we're just doing this.
Yeah.
Right? So at the moment, what we do is we engage with our youth. And when I say our youth, I'm talking about our youth in general, not just Indigenous youth.
Mm-hmm.
That's our primary focus is Indigenous youth, right?
Yeah.
But if we go somewhere and there's 6 black kids and 2 white kids, we don't tell the 2 white kids to go sit in the corner. Like, we engage with everyone the same, right?
Can you imagine that?
I had to bite my tongue there.
Yeah.
You sit at the back of the bus.
Yeah. You treat them how you want to be treated. That's how I was taught. So our main focus is that. So we work in schools, we work in the juvenile justice, we do that kind of stuff. But what we do is we had to really think about, there's so many programs out there, there's so many things, there's so many people that want to engage with kids and make their lives better. But I just feel like no one ever asks, this is going to be a recurring theme that I'm going to tell you over and over again. No one ever asks the people that they're trying to help how they can help them, right? So a lot of people, call it what you want to call it.
I'm glad you said that, because that's something that we're going to talk about.
Oh, 100%. I knew it was going to come up.
Yeah.
But no one ever goes, hey, what do you guys need? What do you know what I mean? So we have three main things that we do, right? So we have a program that's called our Dreamers program, which is just mentoring, right? Yep. It's mentoring, but it's done from our view of what mentoring is.
Yep.
So I don't mean to get racially charged here, not racially charged, but
No,
just
that's fine. I mean, that's what we're
point of
doing.
view.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mentoring in the lens of a I was about to say a white person
Say it.
of the
Say
Western.
it's a white person. That's what we are.
Well, it's not really white because it's not all white people. I want to say, okay, like through the lens of the colonizer, right? Mentoring means me and you meet up 2 times a week. We have a discussion and I write notes down and I say, this is what you should do. And you go, okay. Yeah. And you're not going to take the advice.
No.
That's just the way it works. But the lens that we use is we become personable. We find out, what do you want to do? Okay.
Like a big brother type thing.
Like a big brother, you get this...
You just talk to the person.
To the person.
Yeah.
And so what I've noticed in the Western way of doing things, they take out all the personability because it's business. No, you shouldn't get too attached, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's cardinal sin.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to make someone's life better, how do you do that without becoming attached and understanding the person? Right? So the way we do it is we get to know them, we understand and look at it through their lens, not through anyone else's. And then we figure out what opportunities and what experiences haven't they had yet to help them figure out what they want to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think back to when I was a kid, if I was in Tennant Creek and someone said, what do you want to do? Like, I'm only as big as the town.
Yeah.
Like, my world is literally the same size as that town. So we laugh about this all the time. When I was a kid, all I wanted to be was a dog catcher for the council.
Yeah, right.
Because that was my uncle's job.
Yep.
And I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Yeah? If I had stayed in Tennant Creek, like, how much bigger would my...
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how much further would I go? Oh, maybe I could be the councilman.
Your dreaming stays at a minimal. Like,
Maybe I could catch cats too.
Yeah. Maybe I could,
Branch
breed
out.
them on the side.
Yeah.
And then so what I realized is when we came to Perth, there's more jobs than council jobs or working at the hospital or, you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden there's all these other professions and things that I'd never been exposed to. So we look at it through that lens. Yeah. When you ask a kid in year 7 what they want to do, they've just gotten to high school.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you want to do?
And also quite often their responses are going to be based on the generic lessons they've been taught through primary school, right? So how many times do you see on movies or TV series or whatever, or even ads, kids are like, what do you want to be up? Doctor, teacher, fireman, policeman. I want to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
No one ever goes, I want to be the dog catcher for the council. That could actually be a genuine... Kids, like if you love dogs and you love pets, that could be a dream, but you never taught that that's a possibility.
Never thought about
Yeah, like you said, your dreams are only stretch as far as your lens allows to focus.
So in my profession, like I'm now a careers counsellor. Right. So what you're talking about, I fully understand.
Right.
And I guess from my perspective, like we don't generally, we do a little bit of, I guess like guidance in year 7 and 8 and a little bit more in year 9. But then when they get to year 10, we start looking at, university, TAFE. We start looking at other options, other job fields that they're looking to go to.
Yeah.
We've got websites. For some people, that's a realistic
Can we also
view.
just say real quick why there's so many things that I have an issue with in society, why we do things a certain way. But why don't we teach them how to apply for the dole? Because at some point, statistically, everyone ends up on the dole at some point.
So the kids
most people.
So kids always ask me this, right? They go, why don't we learn about taxes? And I'm like, okay, in your maths classes, you will have specific things that you learn about with taxes, right? When you go to business class or economics and stuff like that, you'll learn about business, right? And taxes and all that type of stuff. However, if I teach you how to do your taxes, that will take me a week.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
probably more.
But then But I'm saying, then
it might take me.
I've now got to chunk up. I've now got to figure out what the hell I'm going to do for the rest of the
year.
Right. So those little things, I've always told kids, these are things your parents should be teaching.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Opening up a bank account. Like my mum had to go at me the other day because I still haven't opened up a separate bank account. Can you remember Dolomites back in the day?
That's literally the first word that came to my head when you said that.
Kids
Can
nowadays,
I tell you, I had a Dolomite, no money in it.
Yeah, I had like
$7 till I was 24.
But that's why the kids taking in the checks and stuff. They're like,
but you used to be able to go into the bank and they teach you how to do it. And they show you how to write out a little checkbook and
I got that little plastic.
And Yeah, it was
folder.
all, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And it was all there.
I don't mean to call you out on this, but
Yeah.
all right, you're speaking from a place of privilege, right? In the
Yeah,
sense,
yeah.
in the sense, saying that you have, like, there's
No,
some
but that's
people.
what I'm saying.
Some people
Yeah,
listening go,
some
"Oh, you
people-
got parents. It must
Yes.
be nice."
No,
You know what I'm
no.
saying?
That's what I'm saying. So that's exactly what I mean. Is
Yeah.
like their
should
parents
be.
are meant to be doing that, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't. I mean, don't forget, I worked in Rockingham area, man.
Yeah.
So
We talked about this on the way over.
yeah, right. So I've been there and I've dealt
Did
with.
you work at Jero as well? In Jero?
Yeah, I worked up in Jarrah, so I ran the
At
midnight
the Macca's
basketball.
drive-through. Oh,
Yeah. So I ran
It's wild out there.
I actually ran the midnight basketball program
Hell
up there
yeah.
for all the Indigenous kids up there.
Night hoops. Who was that ran by at the time?
It was actually called midnight basketball.
Oh yeah.
No, that's what he
So
called
we-
them because he
so
couldn't
we
see him at the
actually-
night time.
Oh my god.
I'm the only
So we
person allowed to
actually
make that
called
joke between us two.
Hey,
My god.
but we used to have to like Thursday nights we'd do like a bus shelter program where we'd take like Diana had a
Yeah.
Nintendo Wii pop out screen. We'd go down to the basketball court in Jarrow.
Yeah.
Right. And we'd basically kids could go on, play video games. You'd have the Wii on the outside, you'd have the basketball court, and myself and a couple of other people would be down there. The hard part was though, is we were doing this because up in Jarrow they had their Thursday night shopping.
Yeah.
They had a lot of trouble with the young Indigenous kids.
Yeah.
Would going in, stealing stuff, causing problems in the area. So we did this. So the kids would come down to the foreshore. They hang out with us. We had
Something to do.
Subway. We
Yeah.
had drinks, everything like that. It was all done by the council.
Yeah.
When I put like an EPB out to all the Indigenous elders and to all the people out there, hey, we'd love for you guys to show your face down here.
Yeah.
Kids would love for you to show your face. How many people you think actually got back to me and said,
I'm be honest with you, no one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not one.
Yeah.
Right? So here's me. I was fine.
Yeah.
Because I played basketball. So
Yeah.
the kids all loved me. They all knew me and all that. But the other people that were with me, they're just white Christian dudes
Yeah.
trying to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are they going to be able to, like, how can they relate
There's
to
no
these kids?
commonality
There's
there,
no
yeah.
commonality, right? But that was the problem that you sometimes face is, like, we were trying to get these kids with their leaders, their elders, to come
Out
down
there.
and actually do something.
Yeah.
No, they didn't want to give up their time unless I paid them a certain amount. And I was like, man, I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Well-
can't pay you out of nothing.
Out of nothing. Yeah, I understand that. But
yeah.
also at the same time, those Indigenous people are asked all the time to do those things.
course.
So, like, there's a lot of burnout in our community where certain Indigenous people, the Black Unicorns, this is why Black Unicorn exists, they get asked so many times to do so many things, and there's only so far that they can stretch themselves. So,
Especially when it's asked to do for free.
yeah,
Yeah.
continuously. And to be honest with you, a lot of the time, we find, and I'm going to put myself in that thing, we find the most polite way to say no is to say, have you got money for me to do this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because then I don't feel as bad if you can't pay me. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
And it, like, that happens a lot. But shout out to Geraldton because Sun City, yeah, we know a lot of kids from there, and they're great kids, man.
Yeah.
And like exactly what you're talking about. We need more of that stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I just want to say too, why we're completely off topic. We're not really off topic, but programs like that where it's non-Indigenous based and Indigenous based things, we need more of it everywhere, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
with your Black Unicorn,
Yo.
I guess explain to me how that molds in, because when I messaged you, then I was like, dude, I'm trying to look up stuff about Black
Oh,
Unicorn,
yeah.
and you were like,
He was
Yes,
getting some
yeah.
weird
Yeah, he was
sights
like, wait a
coming
second.
through.
Yeah, he was like, wait a
Like,
second.
I showed up in a picture. He's like, what are you doing?
Jason hanging out.
Riding a little
Yeah.
plush
yeah,
toy.
yeah. We spoke about Shetland ponies today.
We actually spoke about Shetland ponies today. Yeah. So like what?
All right,
I guess
so-
what does that do? Because I've got some stuff I want to really hit hard here with.
Yeah.
So just very briefly, what is Black
Yeah,
Unicorn?
compared to everything else we talk about?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we think about Tennant Creek, I'm messing with you. No, look. So we started Self Made when we were in uni. So middle of uni. So let me break it down for you real quickly. Self Made was started because there's too much red tape to get things done. We were in uni. We needed something done. Like the community asked us directly. Look, this is how directly it was. My auntie from Tennant Creek calls up and says, "Hey, I work at a youth outreach here for drug and alcohol rehabilitation center. The kids need shoes. Can you send us some pairs that you have?" I was like, "Man, I can do better than that. I can
Yeah.
ask the community, get a whole bunch of shoes,
Take them up. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sick.
So we made some little flyers, and we got 2,000 pairs of shoes, 500 pairs of brand new socks.
Nice.
Sent them out to the community, right? And we were like, oh,
Some kids' feet's gone.
Just so you know, that that math doesn't equal out.
That's
right?
what I said. Some kids' feet's gonna stink.
Yeah.
500 pairs of socks, 2,000 pairs of shoes. Oh, that's not adding up.
if we really want to break in, we really want to break into the intricacies of like how this works. So when you do a drive for used goods, everyone's keen to get rid of the stuff they got.
Yeah.
Right, and this is something we figured out very quickly.
Oh, hell yeah. As soon as
People
the
are like, "Man, I got
curbside
bags.
comes
I
around,
got
boy,
some stuff."
I'm throwing crap
Yeah.
out everywhere.
And so we had all these. And so the flyer we made was looking for pre-loved shoes, and we would like socks, but we don't want used socks.
Yeah.
Right. So we're
Yeah.
trying to get some new socks. So bless the people that donated the socks, because people don't want to come out of their pocket. And I understand, people got different different things happening in life, and they can't really afford to do different things. But we were blessed enough to get 500 pairs of socks. The kids got socks. But look, to be honest with you, a lot of the kids in the territory barefoot all the time, right? So my auntie was trying to like explain to them, help them out with like, it's good for you to wear shoes, especially when it's 42 degrees outside.
Yeah, gotcha. I can't walk around my pool barefooted.
Yeah.
Dude, I get hurt on carpet. That's how much of a wuss I am.
my daughters tease me all the time because I call them Tennant Creek feet when I'm just walking around barefoot.
Yep.
I said, no, it's all good. And they're not as durable as they used to be as a kid.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more pampered now.
Yeah, we saw the shoes you walked in. We know they're pampered.
But we did that. It was awesome. Cool. Okay. And like I said before, we kept telling ourselves when we got enough money, we'll help. Like we can help when we got enough money. Then we did this, and it didn't cost anything really, right? We got the community. We asked the community. The community said, "Yep." They gave us all this, and then the only thing we had to figure out was how to get it from Perth to Tennant Creek.
Yeah, 2,000 pairs of shoes is a lot of space.
Yeah. So we got photos of it. It's crazy. So the pallet we ended up sending was the same height as me. So a whole pallet, right? So we're talking like a meter by a meter plus my height, right?
4'5". Yep.
Yeah, 4'5".
Just dumped in with shoes.
Yeah, dude, just shoes, right? So I sent it up there. My auntie said, it's gone. Like everything that we got, given out to the community straight away.
Fantastic.
Done.
Nice.
We were like, cool.
And he's like, I got 2,000 pairs of shoes.
Yeah,
bro.
she was.
Yeah, imagine that.
I don't have to buy a pair of socks
He
for
like
the rest of my
surprises
life.
her. He like surprises her and she just got him in her house.
Facebook Marketplace in Tennant Creek was going on.
She's selling them off to everybody in
Tennant
the
Creek
town.
Marketplace. The 3 people buying them.
So that was cool. And then that's when we realized, we don't need to wait for millions of dollars. We don't need to wait to be millionaires to do this. We can do this now.
Yep.
So we actually reached out to some other organizations because we didn't think about we can do this ourselves, right? And like something that people understand about me very quickly, I get very frustrated and impatient very easily. Not in a bad way, but like I'll try and get something done, and if it's too hard, I'll just go, we'll just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to do this thing, and it just wasn't in their wheelhouse. And I understand them more now because we have our own thing. When people ask us to do something, I'm like, it's not really what we do.
Yeah.
And then we politely decline, and we say, well, we still help. We still go, well, maybe we can do this, or we can put you in line with other people. So that happened, and then we just started Self Made, right? So then we have this Self Made Indigenous Corporation. It's a charity, right? So we start doing that, collecting goods, sending them out to communities, not just in Tennant Creek, but all around Australia. And then we started just doing everything we could.
Yep.
Right? So then we got burnt out super
Which is
fast.
what you said before. When you start up a business, you do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
and then
you
you
go
got to
from
pull
that,
it back.
and then you go, wow, and then do this. So at the same time, I'm an Indigenous artist, right? So I'm getting asked to do these different things, and I was a sole trader. So then, we're talking to an accountant, and like, oh, we've got this charity. I do art. Do I put the money from my art into the charity? And they're like, well, then you don't get to use
you
the
won't
money.
make a cent.
That's right. Yeah.
And then, so this is the thing, the false pretense. A lot of people think that people who have charities are rich,
Yeah.
right? The most brokest people, the majority of
Yeah.
them.
If anything,
Because
they're mostly the non-profit organizations.
you can't take out of a charity.
Unless you're
right?
a church.
Yeah.
In which case, take whatever you like.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Be careful. You might get sniped out.
That's right. I've got a cross on my chest.
You're
I don't
blessed.
think that matters.
Shush.
But yeah. So we realized that, and I was like, okay, well, all right, we have to figure that out. So we we started getting asked to do a lot more things that weren't along the lines of what the charity wanted to do, which was empower our young people.
Yeah.
And then it branched off into this thing we made called Black Unicorn. So Black Unicorn is actually a tongue-in-cheek name that we had, but now it's so powerful, like I just love it. Someone was talking to me and they said, I'm looking for an Indigenous person that's doesn't really, doesn't have an alcohol problem, doesn't have a drug addiction, is educated, you know what I mean, has all these things, I'm literally looking for a unicorn. And I was like,
oh, shit.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And so in my head,
her name's Kathy Freeman.
but there's
But it works in other ways too.
Yeah.
Like unicorns are normally what color?
What?
White.
Yeah.
So it works in other ways. So you're like
it's
black
ironic.
unicorn, like it's just ironic as well. Like it's a cool little
So
gimmick.
I said to them, you're looking for a black unicorn. And then I corrected them very quickly saying that, like, majority of Indigenous people.
Yeah,
meet
it's
the
not as rare
criteria
as you think.
that you've just, and that's exactly it,
Yeah.
right? And then so now whenever I see, and it's not even Aboriginal people, Indigenous people, it's people of color. Whenever they see the black unicorn thing, they're like, yo.
Well, I sent it to you out there. I saw it, and I'd seen the notes that Daniel put up in our group.
Yeah.
And the little points he was going to touch on. And I didn't say anything in the group because I just wanted to hear you explain it. But I was like, that's just dope. Just the title is dope. Like, I might steal it off you for my next comedy show.
I like that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But and that's where the name stemmed from that conversation, because I was like, wait a second. And I'm not just talking about me. I know so many people in my circle that I talk to daily or I've met along this journey
that aren't
fit the
alcoholics,
same
drug
criteria.
addicts, and
They're all black unicorns.
And so I was like, dude, how crazy is this? That we seem to be like this mythical creature, but they're literally everywhere, right?
That's the ignorance to understanding other cultures, I guess.
100%. So we were asked to do so much stuff, like from rap action plans, like reconciliation action plans, artwork, consulting, like, and this is what I mean. When you're a uni student and you don't have any money, and then all of a sudden people are like, hey, can you do this? You're like, yep.
Yeah.
Can you do this? Yep.
Yeah,
and like the amount of times my wife was looking at me like, dude, can you just say no? And I was like, we need the money. Like,
Well, look, we've been wanting to ask you, can you do something?
Yeah.
Like, we need money, man. We broke.
but that's what it's like, man. And then so that got wild quick. And then now it's super tailored down.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was just the way that we started out. And then we started to realize that our company is actually a social enterprise, right? In total.
Yep.
Both of them. So our social enterprise is, we have a profit side and we have a not-for-profit side. And then the profit side then filters money.
Yeah, and works for you. Yeah.
Right. Because something you realize very quickly, and I know there's a lot of people out there that have charities or work in the space, how hard it is to get funding. And that people that don't have an idea just think it's super easy. You get millions of dollars from the government.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that see nothing.
I'm glad you said that too.
It's all generated off what they can generate.
Cool.
Just shout out to Binna. Like, I know that Binna has been going through, they've been around for so long. And I know that the fantastic people over there have been trying so hard continuously. And they know what the journey's like too.
Dude, Binna is such a cool thing, right? Like, for me, I've played against Binna quite often now on Monday nights, right? And I'll never forget the first time I ever saw them rock up at Coburn. And who's the dad or the cousin or the uncle, sorry? The uncle. Played footy.
You're probably talking about
Kelly's...
the Kellys.
The Kelly's uncle. What's his name? Oh, my God.
idea.
I can't think of it. Anyway, he was down there and he'd be in his mid-40s or whatever, and he was playing with these bunch of young kids. Now, for anyone who ever played at Coburn back in the day, you had a team called the Yongers.
Yep.
Right?
Do you remember... Keep going.
Yeah,
I'll try to remember the other team.
All we ever knew back then was, and this sounds, like I said, we've spoken about how I'm going to approach things, right? But the Yongers would literally, there'd be a smash every game.
Yeah.
There'd be a fight every game.
Right.
Right? So you see a full Indigenous team rock up down at Coburn, Monday night, men's grade.
Yeah.
You're going, man, there's going to be some smashes going on, right? He would literally, as the older of the, because they were 16, 17 years old as well. So you're sitting there going, man, these kids are playing against old dudes. There's going to be a smash somewhere. If they turned and spoke to the referee, he'd pull them off. And he'd go, sit down.
Yeah.
don't you like? He had them so well drilled and so well trained, and they were the most respectful of the teams that were down there.
Yeah.
Right? They never spoke back. They never got into fights. They never started arguments, stuff like that. They were so good, man. So now every time I play like Will Yarron, who's now at Coburn, all right, just things like that, like that stigma. But see, that stems from so many people who played back in the older times, back in the early 90s, late 90s, where there was a team down there that was causing that. So automatically that kind of filtered through to this. But looking at Binar, man, their work that they're doing is just phenomenal. And I actually didn't know until the other day that it wasn't run. I thought the Kelly boys were like leaders of it. Like they ran it. I didn't know there was someone else behind the scenes actually that owned it and was running it all. Like fantastic.
Well, with the important thing to remember too, with if I'm not mistaken, with charities and organizations and stuff, no one actually owns it. It's all board driven. But there are so many people behind the scenes. That do so much. Adam Desi is the one. Like,
that's the name that popped up, and I was just like,
and
who the hell is that? I didn't know.
If he was here right now and we said, "Dude, you're doing a great job," he will literally point at everyone else that does an amazing job. And there's so many people that do an amazing job for them. And that's the one thing that I love is that we're at a basketball thing now, and you can see people getting shocked by the interaction with the Binar teams. They're like, oh, they're so nice.
Yeah, they are. They're fantastic.
They're amazing.
Just going to interject here for somebody who's completely ignorant to all of this. What is Binar? For the people, there'd be people who are listening who wouldn't know what that is.
So it's a community of. It was started out in Midland. I don't know 100% their story, but you need to get someone from here on there because they're amazing. But organization that was started to help get Indigenous kids to play sports. I think it started with one team.
Yeah,
their story is amazing,
and they've just expanded from there.
Yeah, they did.
There. Yeah,
and
it's just wild.
My girls played with Binar when they came back to Coburn, because I've always said like, oh, if my girls are playing at a stadium and Binar's there, they're playing for you guys. It's happening. And
let me explain it better for you.
Go for it. Yeah.
In my extensive knowledge. Shout out to Eric for that.
Google.
Binar at a glance. Binar is the Noongar word for meteor. When the spirit mother's children on Earth are in need of help, she sends her star children home in the form of meteors. Binar began in 2011 as one local basketball team, which you got right there.
Yeah.
2 points for you. Team of 6 Indigenous youth supported by our founder, Adam Desmond, which 2 points for you. It's a draw.
Yeah.
Binar has grown to now having over 1,800 young people, 78% Aboriginal, involved in the Perth metro area and surrounds. Our programs now include sports, culture, youth leadership, and youth development.
Yeah,
that's dope. That's awesome.
Shout
Shout out to Binar. That's wicked.
Super shout out to them. You know the best thing that they do is they make what everyone else has super access to, they make it more accessible for Indigenous people. And that's the thing that all Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people, we just love when we see community things that give our people more access to things.
Yeah.
Right?
So, look, this is where I want to get into it.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so as I've said, we've spoken. I'm going to play a bit of devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
I'll play, whatever you want me to play.
Oh.
All right? But
I wasn't aware we were doing this.
Yeah, role playing. I was like, wait a
we're
second.
role playing.
Let me get comfortable.
But no, so obviously, look, there's always stigma stereotypes. We spoke about it in episode 1 about every different culture, every different race, right? You can talk about Croatians, me being Croatian, what we're like. You can talk about South Africans, what are South Africans like, right? So some of the, I guess, common questions that people always ask or thoughts that go on with Indigenous things, and I want you to just briefly, all right?
See how specifically he aimed that at you?
Briefly.
Don't talk for hours.
Yeah, my bad.
Because-
I was about to say, how long
because
have
we're
we
going to have to
gone for?
wrap up soon, right? So
Are we already there?
So tell me
for
about
the first
Tennant,
part.
tell me
all
about
right?
Tennant Creek.
So look,
Yeah.
all the
Take it back.
when we talk about Indigenous people and things that they say on TV, and look, most of the things that white people see, they are ignorant because we only see what we can see,
Right.
In terms of like Western culture, we only see what we're given, right. And it's like anything, even if it's got nothing to do with race, we only see what we see. The whole COVID situation, we only see what we see, right. So all the bad things that happened in the past, just quit complaining, man, and learn to move on. All right.
Yeah. You want me to start with that one?
Start with that one. Hey guys, DT here. Look, please go check out Self Made Indigenous Corporation. You can find them online. Please just check out everything you can on them. If you need any other information, be sure to DM us, or you can just go straight through the website.
And we'll chuck his links in the description below.
Click the link.
Like, share, subscribe.
And if you're in Tennant Creek, still click the link.
Yeah, good old Tennant Creek. Love it. All right, peace out, guys.
Peace.